What's such a for another reaction? In today's video, we have Why Sports Logos Are Boring Now by June Lee. June Lee?
90s. Cartoon dinosaurs, snarling animals, neon
Yeah, but I missed that old Raptors logo, that Memphis logo, Grizzlies logo.
gradients, 5 colors, 6 outlines.
That piston.
They were loud, they were weird, and sometimes they were ugly, but they were unmistakable. Now, look at the sports logos from today. Cleaner, simpler, usually inside a circle,
Simple, what they call it? Symbolizes.
often just 2 or 3 colors.
Now I like the new Rays logo. That one kind of, the Devil Rays, that's kind of trash.
If you took color away, it would be hard to tell some of them apart. But this isn't just happening in sports. Look around. Our buildings are becoming great boxes. Our fashion labels are using the same few fonts. We're living through the great
But why is they doing this though?
flattening, where the unique soul of teams are being sanded down into a safe geometric template. So how did we get here? How did we go from sports logos being a symbol of local identity to becoming something more corporate, safe, boring? What changed? Because it turns out
Why is they doing?
the reason your favorite team's logo looks more like a tech startup these days isn't just about a change in taste. There's something deeper going on. There was a time when sports logos barely mattered. Before television, before merchandise, before billion-dollar licensing deals. Most teams didn't think of themselves as brands. A team's visual identity was
Bro,
just a uniform. There were no logos on the field, no logos on the radio broadcast. And for decades, team identities were simple, often just a letter. There wasn't a need for anything more. They worked with suppliers like Wilson and Rawlings. Jerseys were hand-stitched and simple because it only had one job, to identify the player on the field. The logo lived on the jersey and sometimes in a newspaper box score, but at the time, sports were just for people in the stadium. And then something changed. In the 1960s, we saw the big bang of sports marketing. The NFL was decades ahead of everyone else. They realized that the helmet was not just protective gear, but a billboard. Baseball didn't catch up until 1969, the year of its 100th birthday. That was actually the first time Major League Baseball created a logo for the entire league. But before that, team logos weren't even formal or necessarily consistent. Soccer, specifically English football, was the first sport to sell replica uniforms, pioneering the market in the early 1970s. Admiral Sportswear launched the first commercial branded replica kit with Leeds United in the 1973 to 1974 season, followed by the English national team in 1974. And then by the 1980s, sports were no longer just games. They were entertainment driving television. Before this decade, if you went to a World Series game, you wore a suit and tie. You might see a kid in a cap, but you'd never see an adult in a replica jersey. That changed in 1987. Under Commissioner Peter Ueberroth, MLB brokered a deal to sell replica jerseys for every single club. To understand how sports logos have evolved so much over the years, I spoke with Todd Reagan. He's a graphic designer and sports branding expert who has helped design logos and uniforms for professional teams and some of the most iconic events in the world.
People
damn.
really wanted to, I think, get more in touch with what it was like to be a member of the team. And people gravitated toward those things in a hurry. I was
AI.
around for that. It really was a breakthrough.
This changed everything because logos suddenly weren't just something
Dang, the Super Bowl logo so ass now, bro. Like I miss the old Super Bowl logos. Like,
used to identify teams, but were being used on products. They were put on starter jackets, on hats, on t-shirts, on
starter jackets, bro.
hoodies. Suddenly, logos became a way to make money. By the early 1990s, the arts and craft era of sports design was over. Everything had been done by pencil and X-Acto knife up until that point.
We were making this transition from doing the art in a traditional cut-paste arts and crafts kind of way and starting to do things digitally. Adobe Illustrator and computerization took over design in a very short period of time, en masse, starting in about 1992-93. And what did that mean for people like myself? Hey, we could do something in 6 colors. Things are being printed in a different kind of way. We could do outlines. We can go wild.
This leap in technology happened alongside a massive shift in American culture. Hip-hop and rap began to dictate what was cool on the field. The Chicago White Sox ditched their old batter logo for a black and white script look because it resonated in the streetwear scene. Streetwear turned mascots into status symbols, and designers started to experiment themselves. That meant more merch, more television, more teams, and more opportunities to stand out. My favorite logos from this era are the Montreal Expos logo, the Mighty Ducks logo, and the Hartford Whalers. I think that the Hartford Whalers logo is the greatest sports
That shit ass. That's ass. The Hartford really
logo of all time. Let me
hell no, that shit ass.
know what your favorite sports logo is in the comment section below. But like any new technology, we used it because we could, not because we should. And logos soon became so over-designed with so many colors and gradients that they were a nightmare to actually use. And like every other design era, it wasn't going to last forever because technology was about to change the world again.
Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. An iPod, a phone,
The iPhone.
and an internet communicator. And we are calling it iPhone.
And slowly, throughout the 2010s, something else started to change. Corporate logos started losing their gradients, buttons lost their shadows, icons lost their gloss, everything got flat. When Apple redesigned iOS in 2013, it changed how phones looked, how our digital world looked. Design started shifting towards clarity and minimalism, towards icons that could work at any size, and sports logos followed. This is why we've seen the great flattening.
Damn, so all this started because of iPhone, Apple, my nigga. What the fuck?
Complicated illustrations have been filed down into geometric icons. It's the iOSification of sports. It's cleaner, sure, but it's also sterile.
And the need to have something stand up as an avatar, for example, and be able to expand as big as the side of a building means that you've really got to, here too, devolve, get less complicated.
Even the physical stadium has changed the way we see color. We've traded static, hand-painted signs for high-contrast digital graphics that split, move, and vanish in an instant. A sports logo today doesn't just live on a jersey. It has to work as a Twitter avatar, as an app icon, as a score bug on a broadcast, as a giant LED graphic in a stadium. It has to scale from the size of a thumbnail to the size of a building. And intricate, detailed logos struggle in that environment. Simple ones survive. If you take a 90s logo and shrink it to the size of an app icon, it blurs. It gets muddier. But if you shrink a modern
I get what you're saying.
simplified logo, it stays clear and visible. Technology explains why our logos got simpler. What it doesn't explain is why they stopped changing altogether. Because here's the strange thing. Over the last decade, teams haven't rebranded that often, but they've changed uniforms constantly. Alternate jerseys, throwbacks, city editions, special editions. Some teams wore 4, 5, 6 different jerseys in a single season. Today, Fanatics manufactures the vast majority of what you see
Fanatics suck.
on the field and in the team store. And because the leagues themselves have a financial stake in Fanatics, the goal has shifted from building a brand to making as much product and money as possible.
Nike and Fanatics are concentrating on uniforms. They want to move uniforms. So any innovation that is happening is really at the uniform level. There's a lot of churn. As a result, permanent identities, brand building has really taken a back seat to keeping all these uniforms moving.
In the past, a full rebrand was this disciplined, years-long process in trying to figure out the team's future identity. Today, that's too slow for the modern retail engine. Uniform drops are fast, seasonal, limited, and most importantly, they sell. It's much more profitable to keep the primary logo boring and static so you can launch a new City Edition jersey every single year. American leagues are also trying to grow into becoming international lifestyle brands, mimicking the badge aesthetic of European soccer. They want a look that feels premium and corporate, something that looks just as good on a $150 minimalist hoodie in London or Tokyo as it does on a scoreboard in Chicago. I don't think all the new flatter logos are bad. I love the rebrand that the San Diego Padres did a few years ago to go back to yellow and brown. I love the new LA Rams uniforms, and I love the fact that the Ducks went back to the old Mighty Ducks logo, even if they tweaked a couple of colors. And a bunch of the new alternate jerseys, in my opinion, are some of the best looks that we've seen on a sports field in years. There are too many of them, but I think a lot of them look really good, even if there is too much of an over-reliance on retro throwbacks.
It's a very easy, comfortable place to be. Retro is like, it's like a big heaping bowl of mashed potatoes, I always say, or a big bowl of vanilla pudding. It tastes great. Nobody doesn't like it. So put that stuff out there. It speaks to a less complicated moment in time. And goodness knows, we live in anxious times right now. Maybe we...
Okay, but y'all niggas want nostalgia beat though and release all these retro jerseys, but y'all won't change the logos and shit.
need something more comfortable.
That is the major reason why we don't see anything cool and new for the most part. There's a lot of reliance on retro things. That's how we get the wacky things these days, is a throwback to a previous era. We're not getting weird or wacky things that are new to 2026. And in the American sports leagues, as we're in this era of global expansion, of global ambition, these major American sports leagues are trying to play things safe because they need to appeal in their minds to as many people as possible all around the world. And my hope is that at some point in the future, the way that you're going to be able to reach new fans is by trying something new, by trying something different, and not just playing things safe. But even Apple, the company that helped define the smartphone era, is now experimenting with something called Liquid Glass, interfaces that bring depth and texture back to the screen, which suggests the flat design era may not last forever. And if it doesn't, sports logos may be about to change again. We're not seeing that yet, but I really do hope that that future is coming soon.
Yeah, why are niggas following after Apple? What the fuck? But make sure to comment, subscribe, and my deuces. Amazing video. What else you gotta say?
Let me know what you think in the comments.